I wanted my Christmas tree to be in the frame, look at it. But it just doesn't quite work out logistically. Unfortunately, you can only just see a titsy wincy bit of it here. I'm very sad about it. Just can't really get a good position for it to be in the frame, so there you go, you've seen it at least. He's there, chilling, being a good tree. So yeah, this is the second first impressions video of the month. I've got another full face of makeup to try out. And a lot of this I got on Black Friday sales. I've also got some stuff from e.l.f. because I am going to do a one brand e.l.f. video soon. So I have a few e.l.f. things to try out today. And just a random bunch of brands really. Once again, I am going to start by testing out the concealer. So finally I got around to getting the e.l.f. hydrating camo concealer. So I tried the original camo concealer quite a long time ago now, and I would say it probably is my like all-time favorite concealer. That and Tarte Shape Tape, they're just my favorite concealer. So I figured it's about time that I tried out the hydrating version of it. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be pretty similar in terms of coverage, at least I hope. And the coverage of the original camo I absolutely adore. It's just like full coverage, I love it. So hopefully the coverage level is still the same. Obviously this is meant to have more of like a hydrating formula to it, because the original is definitely quite matte, which I personally don't mind. But then at the same time, I haven't really got anything against a concealer being hydrating. As long as it doesn't look like super oily and like super dewy on the skin, I don't really mind the concealer being hydrating, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what the finish is like. So I got it in 2 shades. So I got Light Ivory and I got Fair Warm. My idea was that I would use Fair Warm as an under eye brightener and Light Ivory to just do like blemishes and stuff. However, I have compared these shades to the original camo and they definitely aren't like an exact match. Okay, so that's the Fair Warm shade of the original camo concealer, which is super fair, and then next to it here is Fair Warm of the hydrating concealer, and you can definitely see they're not the same shade. So I guess just the PCA if you are getting the hydrating concealer in the same shade that you're getting the original. Not all of the shades match up exactly. This is definitely a bit darker. So yeah, I'll see what it's like on the skin, but I feel like that would actually probably work better on like blemishes than it would as like an under eye brightening concealer. And that is the Light Ivory shade next to it, which definitely is a bit darker than the Fair Warm shade. Again, I don't know, maybe that's going to be too dark, I don't know. I do think that's a little bit annoying that the shades don't like completely correspond with the original formula. But regardless, we're going to test this out. I'm going to stick with the Fair Warm shade. I'm just going to apply it on one under eye and eyelid and see what it looks like next to a bare eye. I've also managed to get a sty in this eye on like my bottom waterline. And yeah, I probably shouldn't be applying makeup and stuff when I have a sty, but you know, I don't have an abundance of time to film videos, so you know. Okay, so I'm just going to apply it on this side. Like, I think the shade is like good, I just don't think it's like a brightening shade. I feel like this is more so like a blemish shade. But like, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have gotten like the 2 shades, if you know what I mean. I would have just probably got this shade on its own. Okay, so yeah, I'd definitely say that the coverage is really good, pretty similar to the original formula. What I'm finding quite strange is that I actually feel like it is still quite matte. Like, I definitely feel like it is slightly less matte than the original, but I still feel like it's quite on the matte side. Like, I don't really feel like it looks particularly oily. I would say it is slightly more hydrating than the original, but it certainly isn't like oily or dewy or anything. But I personally don't mind that, but I feel like if you're getting this under the guise of it being quite like hydrating and more dewy, then you might be a little bit disappointed. But I mean, I like it. I'm happy with the formula. I'm pretty happy with the formula, to be honest. It just reminds me of the original, but just with a little bit more hydration, which honestly, that's pretty great for me, especially because it still looks pretty matte, which I personally like a matte finish anyway. The only thing I'm slightly annoyed about is that I feel like this Light Ivory shade is probably going to be like a bit too dark, but I think I will try it out over blemishes once we've done foundation and stuff, just to see. But in the meantime, I'm going to wipe that off my under eye, put some on the other eyelid, and use it as a base for eyeshadow, as usual. I've got an eyeshadow base, so the eyeshadow palette, which I've already managed to get dirty with my bloody concealer fingers. This is the Lorac Pro Noir palette. So I got this in the Black Friday sales on Beauty Bay, and I think the thing that sort of drew me to it was the fact that it's very shimmer heavy, and I don't know why, but I've just been quite into shimmers recently, like a bit more than I am into mattes. I don't know why, I just like a sparkly shimmery eye. I just feel like they're really good for when you're going out and you just want, you know, a little bit of something on your eyes. And this is literally like the bottom 2 rows are all shimmers, and then you have obviously got some mattes on the top row, but it's very shimmer heavy and some of them look stunning. I have done a few swatches and whew. This isn't the cheapest palette, it is quite expensive, but it wasn't a sale. I think I got it for like about £25. It was either 25 or 27.50, I can't remember. So not the cheapest, but it was a bit of a discount to what it originally was. And just out of all the palettes I saw on Beauty Bay, this one I was just drawn to for whatever reason. It obviously is a pretty neutral glam palette, but I personally think it looks pretty stunning. And if you watch my first impression video, I went for a proper like bright rainbow palette, so we got the best of both worlds with these 2 first impressions. I think I am going to do one eye off camera and then I will repeat it all in the other eye for you. Okay, so we are back with one eye done. This is what I've gone for. It's nothing too adventurous, but this is obviously quite a nude glam palette, so that is kind of the look that I kind of had to do. I have to say, this was like super quick to do as well. It didn't take me that long. Like the shades just blended so seamlessly. It just really didn't take a lot of time at all, so I feel like this would be a really good palette for if you're going out and you don't have a lot of time to get ready. I feel like this would be the perfect palette for that because the shades just blended so seamlessly. Right, so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye. So I started with the lightest brown matte shade on the top row to start with. And yeah, like I said, the mattes in this palette, they're very pigmented, but they just blend so effortlessly, just really easy to work with. And underneath that we're using the shade next to it, slightly darker brown shade. Then we're going in for this even darker brown shade, one next to the black here, underneath that. And then we're using the matte black, and that's going in the outer third. Very pigmented matte black, very blendable, very intense. Then I'm using some of this matte creamy shade up here just to blend out under the brow bone. And now we're just going to go back to the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and I'm doing a bit of a cut crease. Okay, so over our cut crease, I'm starting with this sort of light champagne-y kind of shimmer here, and that's going in the inner third. Okay, and next to that I'm using this sort of goldy shimmer here, and that's going in the middle of that cut crease. Beautiful pigmentation. And then in the outer third, we're using this darker sort of silvery kind of shimmer. And we're just going back in with some of the darker mattes and doing some blending. Okay, so I've just cleaned up the edge with a wipe, so this is the finished look. I'm pretty happy with it. It's nothing crazy, but I just think it's a really nice glam look. I mean, I'm really impressed with the palette. I thought the shimmers were stunning. The mattes just blended like a dream. Honestly, I've really got nothing to complain about. Really nice palette. I really like it. I can't wait to use more of these shimmers. I can't wait to just wear this out. I feel like this is probably going to be like a go-to like going out palette. It's just got those vibes to it, and the quality has definitely not disappointed. I am happy with the quality of those shades. So I've not got any eyeliner, so we're going to move straight on to mascara. The mascara I've got to try is from Bperfect, and this is their Bad Llama mascara. Don't know what drew me to this in particular, but thought I'd give it a go. I think it was on the sale, so this is what the wand looks like, quite long. I've honestly not heard anything about this mascara, but I looked at like one of the before and after pics on the Bperfect website, and it looked quite good, so we're gonna try it out. So I'm just gonna apply this to my top lashes. Probably should have curled them first, whoops. I would say it's done a decent job, but I'm not like blown away by it. Like I feel like it's giving me a little bit of something. But compared to the misguided one that I used in the other first impressions video I've done this month, I feel like it's definitely not as good as that. I feel like it could just give me a bit more, to be honest, but we'll see if it grows on me the more I use it. But for now, I just think it's decent, but it's not amazing. Okay, so we're going to move on to base now. I don't have any primers, so we're going to go straight on to foundation. The one we're going to be trying out today is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Normal to Oily. This is in the shade 100 Warm Ivory. If you remember trying a Maybelline Fit Me concealer, like this was probably like 5 years ago now. It was when like, I think it was not long after I actually first made my channel, and I have like a kind of vague memory of like doing like a blog post about it, because for a minute I thought I wanted to be like a makeup blogger. It didn't last very long. I remember I had a version of it that was in like a bottle, it wasn't in a tube like this. So obviously that was 5 years ago. They've probably changed the formula since then, and even if they hadn't, I have literally got no recollection of what it was like anyway. But I was kind of curious to see what it was like now, so we've picked it up and we're going to try it out today. I've got the shade Warm Ivory, which I think should be a decent shade, but I honestly don't know. I think it's the second lightest shade. I'm pretty sure there's one that's like 95, like I think it's called like Porcelain or Alabaster maybe, but I think it's like more pink toned. This one has got more of a warmer tone to it. It looks like it. Yeah, I feel like that should be a pretty good match actually. Yeah, I think that's going to work fine. So I'm going to go ahead, build up a load of this on my face, see what it's like. As I said, I literally have no recollection of what it was like when I tried it 5 years ago. So we'll see. I feel like it gets kind of mixed reviews. Just looking at like the reviews on Superdrug, it seems a bit like some people really like it, some people don't like it as much. So honestly, I have no idea what to expect. I'm obviously expecting it to be fairly matte because it is called a matte foundation, but we'll see. Yeah, I feel like that shade is pretty good actually. Okay, so I've applied a decent amount of this foundation. I think the shade's really good, maybe even like slightly too pale, but that's something that I can work around pretty easily. I really like the finish of it. It looks super like lightweight, super natural. Definitely more of a matte finish, but it doesn't look dry at all. Like there is still like a little bit of sort of hydration coming through, but it's still like fairly matte looking. I'd say probably more semi-matte would be the right word, but it looks super lightweight. The only thing I feel like this is lacking is like coverage. I would say like with like a little bit of building, it's probably like a solid medium coverage, but I can still see like blemishes coming through and stuff, so it's not like a super full coverage foundation. But like based on the finish, I feel like this would be like a go-to sort of like more natural foundation for me on days where I do want something like a little bit more lightweight for my base. I really like the finish. I just think it looks super nice on the skin. Like, this is something that I'm really liking about how it looks on the skin. The only thing, honestly, the only downside really is that I can still see like blemishes coming through. But the thing is, I've got my e.l.f. The thing is, I know these e.l.f. concealers are really good coverage, so I'm gonna get that coverage anyway. I have to say though, I really like the finish of that. I feel like it just looks nice. Liking everything about it, just wish it was a little bit more coverage, and obviously I've got to see like how it wears and stuff as well. We're going to go back to concealer now, so I'm going to use the Fair Warm shade under my eyes. Definitely feel like the foundation is lighter than the concealer. Not by a lot, but slightly. That's done a really good job under the eyes. I'm going to use the slightly darker shade, which is Light Ivory. I just feel like this is like, I don't know, it might work, but I'm going to apply it over blemishes. It's not like super duper dark, but I don't know, it might work actually. So I'm just going to apply this on blemishes and probably a little bit on my nose as well. It smells like candy. Definitely given me some good coverage over my blemishes. I have to say, I feel like the hydrating version of this concealer is really good. I like it. I feel like I like it probably just as much as I like the original, because honestly I feel like they're just really similar. This has just got a tiny bit more hydration in it. Both blended really nicely over the top of that foundation. Like, I'm liking how my base is looking, to be honest. Okay, for setting powder, I've actually got 3 things here. So I decided to treat myself to a Laura Mercier product. This is a translucent loose setting powder, light catcher, and it's in the lighter shade, which is Celestial Light. So I think it's sort of like a glowy version of their like original setting powder. It came in like 3 shades, and obviously I went for the lightest one. But I've had a quick look, and I don't know, I feel like it looks a bit dark. Let me just get some out. That looks quite dark to me. I'm a little bit like concerned. My plan was to use that under the eyes and then test out these two, because these are both pressed powders. So I've got the Revolution Pro Glam Mood powder, and I got it in the shade Banana Light. It looks like this. It's just a pressed setting powder. And I also got the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in a powder, which I know went really viral earlier this year. For some reason in the UK we don't have the full shade range of this, which is a little bit annoying, because I think the lightest shade we had in the UK was like Ivory, and I just wasn't convinced that it was light enough. So I actually managed to get this on eBay. This is the lightest shade, which is Pearl. So if you are from the UK, you can find it on eBay, but you will have to pay a bit more than you probably would want to. I definitely did not want to pay the price that I did pay for this. But honestly, I was just really curious about it. I wanted to try it. And the shade definitely does look quite pale. That should work, I would have thought. Might even be too light. But I know people were like obsessing over this like earlier this year. See, I wanted to use this Laura Mercier one under my eyes, but look, it just looks so dark. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I mean, it's a first impressions video. We're trying out new products. I gotta give it a go. It might ruin my base, which I'm actually quite liking so far. Also disappointing, because I spent a lot of money on this. It is not a cheap powder, but I don't know, maybe some miracle will happen and this will actually look nice in the face, who knows. Because honestly, looking at it, I'm like, I could use that as like a bronzer. I can definitely see like the shimmer particles in it, which is nice. I mean, give it a go under the eyes, but I can't see this going well. Let's do it anyway. I'm just going to use this to set my under eyes. Okay, I wouldn't say it looks quite as dark on the face as I thought it would. And it definitely does still look a little bit dark though. It's super like shimmery, like you can really see the shimmer. And I don't know, I can't decide if I like it or not. I feel like it's sort of worked. So you really don't know what to make of that. I mean, it's set my under eyes pretty well. The shimmer is really strong. The shade isn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it's definitely not perfect. That one I definitely need to keep trying out to figure out what my opinion is, but I don't feel like it's ruined my base, so that's good. We are going to switch to the 2 pressed powders. I think I will just try one out on one side of my face and one out on the other. The shades do look pretty similar, so I don't think it should look too weird. I'm going to start with the Glam Mood one from Revolution Pro, and again the shade looks quite pale and kind of more warmer toned. It seems quite hard pressed though in the pan, but we are getting some stuff off it. So I'm going to do this side of my face just the outer perimeters. So now that I've applied that powder and sort of blended it in to the Laura Mercier powder, I feel like that sort of bronzy tint is kind of gone now, and it kind of all just looks like the shade kind of looks good now. So yeah, I mean, this powder, I feel like it's done a pretty decent job. The shade has worked fine. It looks pretty lightweight on the skin. It's quite undetectable, I'd say, but I would say the finish is also quite smooth. I think that's done a good job. I like it. Really got nothing to complain about. Everything feels mattified. I think that's quite a nice powder actually. I don't know how long it's going to last me, because I feel like pressed powders like tend to just fly through, but we'll see. Try out the L'Oreal one on the other side. I've heard this has like quite strong coverage to it, so this side of my face might look a bit like cakier than the other side, but we're going to do the same thing on the other side of my face. Just set the rest of my face down. Okay, that's also done a good job. Very smooth, mattified well. A little bit heavier. It's definitely heavier than this powder, but I don't feel like it's super heavy at the same time. I feel like this shade is a little bit different. I feel like this one's slightly like pinker in tone, whereas this one's a little bit warmer in tone, so I don't look completely symmetrical, but that is okay. But yeah, the finish is nice, it's smooth, it's added coverage. I'm happy. I feel like the base has actually come together because I was a bit nervous there. But yeah, that Laura Mercier powder, I feel like now it looks fine. Now that I've sort of blended the other powders kind of into it. It's super glowy though. That's kind of the first thing you notice. But at the same time, it doesn't look too much. Like I feel like it still looks good. Like I still feel like it looks pretty nice under the eyes. So yeah, I feel like the second powder's actually all pretty good. Okay, so we're going to move on to cheeks now. I have this little mini palette from e.l.f. This is, I think they're called like bite-sized palettes or something. This is in the shade Cantaloupe. And it has this like really orangey shade, and then it has obviously this sort of highlighter here. I was hoping that maybe I could use this as a bronzer, but looking at it now, I feel like the orange is a bit too intense, and I don't know if that's going to work as a bronzer. I feel like it is obviously meant more as a blush. See, I'm going to apply it as a bronzer, and then if it looks weird, then it looks weird. We're just going to have to give it a go, because I didn't buy any other bronzers for this video. I knew that these were going to be small, but I didn't think they were going to be that small. Like, they are very tiny. See, I'm hoping that this brush will actually fit in it. It's definitely got some pigment to it. Let's just, you know, tap that off a bit. This might look really bad as a bronzer, but we're going to try it out anyway. Okay, I actually feel like that's worked quite well as a bronzer. I feel like a lot of people would probably prefer a shade like this maybe more as a blush. But honestly, I feel like it kind of works as a bronzer as well, you know? I feel like I'd use it both ways. The formula is obviously quite pigmented, but it is blending out pretty nicely. So yeah, the formula is good. Honestly, I feel like that's done a good job. Okay, so I said in the other first impressions video that I would try out one of the other shades from this palette from Kimchi, which is the Kimchi Cheeky Threesome Blush Palette in the shade Just a Pinch. I tried this really like bubblegum pink in the first video. I'm thinking I'm going to use this shade here, which is quite corally. I'm going to use that one, I think. Again, it seems quite pigmented, so I'm just going to pop that on my cheeks and a bit on my nose as well. Yeah, that's super pretty. The shade is really nice. It's not too intensely pigmented. Nice pop of colour, I like it. So the highlighter, like I said, this e.l.f. palette does come with a highlighter too. I don't know, it looks okay, it's not the most intense. I did also get a highlighter from Bperfect. This is their Polar Vortex Radiant Highlight. Mine's in the shade Frosted. I think there was about 4 or 5 shades, and this was the lightest one. And online, it definitely looked lighter than what it looks like when it arrived. That's what the packaging looks like. I definitely feel like it looks quite bronzy, and I'm a bit worried that this is going to leave a cast on me. However, it does look absolutely stunning. It's more of a sort of like goldy, bronzy kind of shade. The pigment looks really nice, and it looks super like metallic. I'm going to try it out anyway, but I've got a feeling that this is probably going to leave a bit of a sort of like stripe on my face. Right, I'm going to start with this Bperfect one. I'm just going to try this out on one cheekbone. Okay, actually I feel like it has translated quite well on the face. I don't think it has left like a harsh stripe or anything. And it is really pretty. Yeah, interesting. I probably will end up using this one all over, but I do want to just quickly test out the e.l.f. one as well. I'm just going to try the e.l.f. one out on the other cheekbone. Oh, okay, that's actually quite nice. That's actually quite nice. I wasn't expecting it to be so nice. I really didn't have much expectations for that, but that's actually showing up really nice. It's quite pigmented. I don't know, I kind of feel like it looks a bit more intense than the Bperfect one, you know? Okay, wasn't really expecting much from that highlight, but actually pretty pigmented. So I'm going to go back to the Bperfect one, and I'm just going to finish layering this up in all my highlight spots. Quite like this, and honestly I don't feel like it has left a cast on the face. I feel like it's worked quite well. It's got decent pigmentation. I think that is a nice highlighter. I feel like it's done a good job actually. I was a bit apprehensive about the colour, but I think it's worked quite well, and also the e.l.f. one I think was pretty good too. I'm gonna move on to brows. I've got a gel and I've also got a pencil to try out. So the gel is actually from MUA. This is their Brow Define Tinted Brow Mascara with fibre, and it's in the shade Mid Brown. So I'm gonna try this out first. It's got quite a small one, then I can see like the fibres on it. I'm just going to tap off any excess. There's a little bit of excess, but it's not too bad. So I'm going to brush this through the brows. I feel like the shade is a little bit lighter than what I would normally go for. But I don't think they had the best shade selection. I think it's done a pretty good job. It's probably not my, again, I don't think it's probably my favourite gel I've tried this year, just because it is a little more, it's just a little bit more pigmented than I'd like it to be, but I think I like it more than the Sosu one that I tried in the last video. I do also have a brow pencil. This is from a brand called Pink Honey. I got it off of Beauty Bay, and this is their Wonder Whip pencil. Don't know what the shade is because it's not written on here, and I threw away the box. But it's quite a dark brown colour, so I'm going to use this to just structure the brows a bit more. Okay, it's not like the softest formula, like it's a little bit stiff, but it's done an okay job. Again, I need to try this out by itself before I can fully judge it. Brows look okay. I feel like they look a little bit messy. Yeah, I feel like both of those brow products were okay, but I'm not loving them. Okay, so we're going to finish off the eyes. Back to the palette. I think I'm going to use this white shimmer shade and put that in the inner corner. I'm going to just sort of repeat the same transition shades on the lower lash line. So start with the light brown, and then yeah, I'll probably just use the exact same shades that I used on the lower lash line. Just gonna put some mascara on my bottom lashes. For lips, I haven't got a new lipstick, kind of like what I did in the first First Impressions. I got another shade of a lipstick that I already know I like the formula of. This is one of the Revlon Super Lustrous lipsticks, and this one is in the shade 014 Shameless. It looks like this is quite a sort of like berry colour. I'm not gonna lie, online it looked quite different to how it looks in person. Online it looked like a sort of like grey kind of nude, whereas this is definitely more of a like berry red sort of shade, which wasn't really what I wanted, but we'll give it a go anyway. So I know that I like the formula of these. I think the shade that I already have is called Untold Stories, and it's just like a really nice nude colour, and I love the formula of it. But we'll give this shade a go. It's not the normal shade that I would go for, but I quite like it. It's quite cute. It's nice. I like the formula of it. It's cute. I like it. I don't like it as much as the nude shade I have, but it's a nice sort of like red that isn't too like out there vibrant. It's sort of more understated kind of red. So I do have a setting spray to try out, but first I'm gonna just sort my hair out, clean up any mess, and then we'll give this a go, and then we're done. Okay, so we're back. So we're now gonna try out a setting spray. This is from Elf. This is a Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. Obviously I needed a setting spray for my Full Face Elf video, and I feel like this one just sounded the most appealing to me out of all the ones I had. So let's give it a go. Alright, give it a shake. And I'm just going to spray this all over my face. See if it gives us a nice dewy finish. Okay, you can really smell the coconuts. That's a very strong scent, and the mist is a little bit aggressive, like it is quite strong, but it feels very hydrating. I mean, I feel like it's done a nice job. Like, it's definitely added like hydration and dewiness, and it's made my highlighter pop more. I feel like it's done what you would want a dewy setting spray to do. The only thing is I feel like the mist is a little bit aggressive, but that's not too big a deal for me. And if you like the smell of coconuts, well then you're gonna love this because it's quite a strong coconut scent. I don't mind coconut scent. It's not my favourite scent. It's okay, I guess. Overall though, I would say I like that setting spray. So that brings us to the end of the video. So just to recap my thoughts and everything, I'd say the favourite things I've tried today would be the Lorac Pro Noir palette. Thought that that was stunning. Mattes blended like a dream, and the shimmers are beautiful. Really enjoyed the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. Really enjoyed the Elf Hydro Camo concealers. Quite enjoyed all of the setting powders in the end. This little Elf palette worked pretty well actually as a bronzer and highlighter duo. The Bperfect highlighter was actually really nice, and I was worried that it would give me a bit of a cast, but I feel like it actually kind of didn't. I feel like it looked fine. Not so sure about the brow products, and not so sure about the mascara. I feel like those were probably the most underwhelming products I tried today. But I feel like the base products in particular were pretty good, as well as the eyeshadow. So yeah, definitely overall tried some good things today. Some things I'm not so sure about, but as always, I will be doing an updated review on all of these products, so this is not the last you will hear of them. I will be trying these out to oblivion, and I'll let you know if any thoughts change. I've just realised that this is the last first impressions video I'm going to be filming for a while, because as I've said, I am going on a no-buy next year, so there won't be any first impressions next year. So yeah, this is the last first impressions video for a little while. I feel like we ended on a pretty good one though. I've tried some really good products today. So that is everything for this video, so thank you for watching. I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.